find out of 18-year-old Natalee Holloway in Aruba before she vanished in 2005. Today, Sloot actually pleaded guilty to extortion and wire fraud for trying to sell information about the location of Natalee Holloway's body.
After a long wait of 2 decades, it appears that Natalee Holloway's body has finally been exposed. Natalee, who was just 18 when she disappeared into thin air in 2005, left a world stunned by her absence. With this latest discovery, the air is thick with whispers and conjectures. Could we finally learn the truth of that fateful night? Tune in. Let us break down the mysteries that have lingered in the darkest corners of the crime. The unresolved mystery of Natalee Holloway. It looks like Natalee Holloway's remains may have been found, finally giving her family the chance for closure after almost 20 years. Back in 2005, Natalee, who was only 18 years old, was tragically killed by Joran Sloot. The evidence against him is overwhelming. Not only has he admitted to the crime, but he's also been involved in other serious charges, like the murder of another young woman, drug trafficking while in prison, and luring women into a fake modeling agency. There are now rumors that the spot where he got rid of her body has been located, which makes us wonder what really happened on that tragic day. Was Joran really responsible? We're about to learn more about the investigation into her death and the charges Joran Sloot can't seem to escape. As investigators unearth a backpack similar to Natalee's at the suspected site, the world awaits, hoping this clue will finally expose the truth. He's going to appear in court to confess that he tricked her mother, promising to tell her where the body was in exchange for money. As part of a plea deal, he might finally reveal what really happened to her body. There's also strong evidence, like an email Joran sent to a friend, explaining how he and his father got rid of the body by throwing it into the sea. This confession is just the start of uncovering the truth about what happened. Joran Sloot still hasn't answered for many inconsistencies. His story about what he did with her body hasn't been backed up by his lawyers. Plus, he's lied before, claiming his father helped him, even though his father died in 2010. There's a court session in Birmingham this Wednesday that might finally give her family some of the answers they've been waiting for nearly 2 decades. She was only 18 when she disappeared in May 2005 during a trip to Aruba after graduating high school. She was last seen drinking and dancing at a bar with Joran and the Kalpoe brothers, Deepak and Satish. When the bar closed at 1 a.m., she left with them, and that was the last time anyone saw her alive. Her family has been searching for the truth ever since. Her disappearance shocked people around the world. Her face, full of life and hope, was everywhere on TV as the media covered the case non-stop from Aruba. It became such a huge story that it led to books, movies, and podcasts keeping her story in the public eye. In 2005, Joran and the Kalpoe brothers were arrested, but because there wasn't enough evidence, they were released shortly after. They were arrested again in 2007, this time with more serious charges related to her disappearance. However, they were let go again because a judge said there wasn't enough proof they were involved in any violence against her. This left her family and friends without any real answers or closure. He tried to make money off her tragedy by selling fake information to her mother, Beth Holloway. This deal is expected to be finalized in court in Birmingham at 9:30 a.m., where Joran will hopefully provide the long-awaited answers about what happened on that terrible day. The story of Natalee Holloway has been filled with years of heartbreak and constant searching by her family. Recently, there was a major development in the case. Federal authorities accused Joran Sloot of trying to scam her family out of $250,000. He asked for $25,000 up front, promising to reveal where her remains were. He claimed that once her body was found and identified, the rest of the money would be paid. However, officials say that Sloot gave false information to her mother, Beth Holloway, about where her daughter was. The court case begins, opening doors to painful but crucial truths. The legal maze in the Sloot case. This accusation covers the period from late March to mid-May of 2010. In a court hearing in June, Sloot denied the charges of fraud and extortion. He was extradited to the United States from Peru, where he had been jailed for the murder of 21-year-old Stephanie Flores. Now in Alabama, he faces charges related to his attempt to exploit her disappearance. The extradition of Sloot was a big moment in this long-running case. It marked a key step in the family's ongoing fight for justice. Joran Sloot grew up in Arnhem, Netherlands with 2 brothers. His father was a lawyer, and his mother was an art teacher. The family moved to Aruba when he was young, where he did well in school and played sports like football and tennis. He even played tennis with his father in tournaments and dreamed of going to St. Leo University. But Joran had a darker side that showed up early on. His mother said he was often dishonest and would sneak out at night to go to casinos. This behavior got worse over time, leading to more serious crimes, including murder. But this wasn't the worst part. In her talks with the media, Beth Holloway said her family had agreed to a plea deal, hoping it would reveal the truth about the disappearance. The deal allowed them to hear Sloot explain what happened the night she was last seen at the beach. His confession was recorded, and parts of it were shared in court by the prosecutors. Listening to these details was incredibly painful for Beth and her family, but after 18 years, it brought some closure. During his confession, Sloot described a terrible and violent incident. He admitted to attacking her when she fought back. He said he kicked her and hit her with a cinder block, killing her. Afterward, he claimed to have dragged her body into the ocean and left it there. Hearing this was heartbreaking for Beth, but she knew she needed to know the truth. Still, Beth couldn't help but feel proud of her daughter for trying to defend herself, even though it cost her life. Dave Holloway, her father, called Sloot pure evil. He's convinced Sloot acted alone, although he wonders if others helped hide the crime or dispose of the body. Despite all the searches, her body has never been found, leaving her family to cope with the pain and the grim reality of what happened. Later, he admitted to killing her on a beach in Aruba after she fought back against his unwanted sexual advances. According to his lawyer, Sloot said she hit him in the groin to defend herself, and he reacted violently by kicking her in the face and hitting her with a concrete block. He confessed to throwing her body into the sea, but it was never found. She was declared legally dead in 2012. 5 years after she went missing, Sloot moved to South America, where he met Stephanie Flores, a college student. Tragically, on the exact day 5 years after she disappeared, May 30th, 2010, Stephanie's body was found in a hotel room in Lima, Peru. She had been staying in the room with Sloot, and her beaten body was discovered after he left the hotel quickly, leaving behind the key and the TV still on. Authorities found a tennis racket in the room, which they believe he used to kill her. A new tragedy strikes on a grim anniversary, deepening the mystery. Tragedy and crime at the casino. But the worst part came when more details started to emerge. Sloot and Stephanie had been seen together in a casino and later at the hotel. Witnesses, including a guest and hotel staff, confirmed they entered the room together, and security footage also showed them at the casino. Sloot had traveled to Peru from Colombia on May 14, 2010, to participate in a poker tournament, and that trip led to yet another tragic outcome. Stephanie was a student close to finishing her business degree at the University of Lima and came from a well-known family. Her father, Ricardo Flores, a businessman and public figure in Peru, was heartbroken over her death. During the investigation, police found her car parked some distance away from the hotel, and it contained drugs, raising suspicions that she might have been drugged before her murder. Her valuables, including jewelry, cash, and some casino winnings, were missing, along with money her father had given her to buy a laptop. But this wasn't the end of the story. Stephanie's family reported her missing to the police, who quickly checked the hotel security cameras and identified Sloot as the last person to be with her. They also gathered his personal details, including his national identification number. Just an hour before Stephanie's body was found, her sister-in-law discovered Sloot's troubled past online. He later confessed to killing Stephanie and was sentenced to 28 years in prison in 2012. His sentence was extended due to additional charges for drug trafficking inside the prison. Even behind bars, Sloot's life continued to take unexpected turns. In 2014, while serving his sentence, he married a Peruvian woman named Lady Figueroa, whom he met during her visits to the prison. At the time, Lady was 7 months pregnant, and their daughter was born in September of the same year. But Sloot's problems didn't stop there. In 2021, he was caught running a drug smuggling operation inside the prison, involving cocaine hidden in sugar beets, which added more charges to his criminal record. Joran Sloot's actions, which led to the tragic deaths of Natalee Holloway and Stephanie Flores, have finally caught up with him. A judge in the United States, Anna Manasco, sentenced him to 20 years in prison for blackmailing Natalee's family and committing fraud. During the trial, the judge emphasized that Sloot had admitted to killing Natalee, describing how he violently ended the lives of both women after they rejected his advances. Currently, Sloot is finishing his sentence in Peru for the murder of Stephanie Flores, and once that's done, he'll be extradited to the U.S. to serve the next 20 years. This ensures he'll be behind bars for a long time, giving some relief to the victims' families. In 2010, Sloot made a crucial mistake that became key evidence. He sent an email from his personal account mentioning a boat trip with his father shortly after Natalee disappeared. In the email, he vaguely wrote that they took care of things. This raised suspicions about their actions around the time she went missing. Investigators who found this email saw it as a potential attempt to cover up what had happened to her, especially since the timing was so suspicious. But that wasn't all. Sloot used the same email to contact Natalee's family. In one message, he hinted again, saying that he and someone else had handled things, but refused to explain further. Over the years, he's told different versions of what happened to her, though none have been proven true. In one instance, he claimed his father had disposed of her body at a construction site, but no evidence of this has ever been found. Scandals and secrets tighten their grip as the truth struggles to surface. Sloot's escapades. Things took a dramatic turn in January 2008. On a Dutch TV show, Sloot lost his temper and threw wine at crime reporter Peter de Vries. This moment, captured on live TV, showed his unpredictable nature. A month later, de Vries aired undercover footage of Sloot, under the influence of drugs, confessing to being there when she died. Millions of people watched the video, but despite his shocking admission, he wasn't arrested due to lack of evidence. But this wasn't the worst of it. Peter de Vries kept pressuring Sloot, which eventually drove him to seek psychiatric treatment. Afterward, Sloot left the Netherlands and moved to Thailand, trying to escape the constant media attention. He enrolled in a business course at a local university and even bought a restaurant nearby, hoping to start fresh. However, his past continued to follow him, haunting his efforts to live a new life in Bangkok. The video revealed that Sloot was involved in a plan to bring Thai women to Europe, claiming it was for escort services. According to de Vries, Sloot made a lot of money from this, earning $13,000 for each woman he trafficked to the Netherlands. To avoid getting caught by Thai police, he used a fake name, Murphy Jenkins. This discovery about Sloot's actions in Thailand caused a lot of concern and led to a criminal investigation. The Peruvian Minister of Justice confirmed that Thailand was taking legal steps against him. Thai authorities were focused on Sloot's possible role in the disappearance of young women who might have been tricked into joining this escort trafficking ring. He pretended to be a modeling scout, promising women careers in Europe, but instead forced them into the escort industry. Meanwhile, the case of Natalee Holloway, a young woman who went missing, was turned into a 2009 television movie called Natalee Holloway. The movie was based on a book written by her mother, Beth Holloway. The film showed Sloot's connection to Natalee's disappearance and featured Jacques Stridham playing his role. It became a huge hit, breaking records for Lifetime Channel. Sloot even watched the movie himself, admitting that some parts were true, but denying others. A second movie, Justice for Natalee Holloway, was made later, with Stephen Amell playing Sloot. Around the same time, Sloot was seen in Macau, participating in high-stakes poker games. He bragged about winning an online poker tournament and called himself a professional on his social media. He even shared that his favorite book was a poker strategy guide by Barry Greenstein, hinting that he was now focused on a poker lifestyle. By 2010, Sloot returned to Aruba after his father, Paulus, passed away. Before this, Paulus had been questioned about the disappearance of Natalee Holloway in 2005. Though he was released after 3 days, the experience deeply affected him and his family. The Calpo brothers, who were connected to the case, revealed that Paulus had given Joran advice on how to avoid getting caught when there wasn't enough evidence. Beth Holloway, her mother, criticized Paulus and his wife for not having better control over Joran. She even suggested that Joran needed a psychological evaluation. The media attention and legal battles drained the Sloot family's finances. While Paulus had initially won a wrongful arrest lawsuit and received compensation, that decision was eventually overturned. In 2007, he joined the law firm that had defended him, trying to move forward despite the challenges. However, his death in 2010 marked a turning point for Joran, who then left Aruba and sold off his restaurant business in Bangkok. Past lies resurface, revealing a dark network of deceit. A family's desperate search. In a 2008 interview with Fox News, Joran van der Sloot made shocking claims about her disappearance. He said he had sold her into sexual slavery and paid off others to keep quiet. He even accused his father, Paulus, of helping corrupt police officers to block the investigation. At first, Joran van der Sloot took back his original statements, admitting that he had made up the entire story. In an interview, they played a tape where van der Sloot supposedly talked to his father. But later, experts who checked the recording said it wasn't his father's voice, but van der Sloot trying to change his own voice. In 2010, Joran's father, Paulus van der Sloot, suddenly died of a heart attack while playing tennis in Aruba. He was 57 years old. After his father's death, Joran returned to Aruba and began gambling a lot. Joran's mother, Anita, later said that he was struggling with serious mental health issues and felt responsible for his father's death. She had planned to get him professional help, but Joran left the country without warning, leaving behind a note asking her not to worry. Even though the U.S. authorities don't have the power to investigate crimes in Aruba, they can still charge Joran van der Sloot for crimes related to her case in the United States. In 2010, a court in Alabama charged him with trying to extort money from her family by offering fake information about where she was. He is accused of trying to trick her family into giving him money between March and May of that year. So even though van der Sloot is already in a Peruvian prison, he could still be prosecuted in the U.S. Aruban authorities are also keeping a close watch on the case and have hinted that he could face new charges there, despite having once confessed to harming her. But this wasn't the only complication. Aruban officials have promised that they are still committed to figuring out what happened. They are taking van der Sloot's confession seriously and want to look at all the evidence that was presented during his trial in the U.S. They've asked the U.S. Department of Justice to send them all the important documents and transcripts related to the case. After reviewing everything, they will decide what steps to take next. One major challenge they face is whether the 12-year statute of limitations in Aruba will affect the case. A spokesperson from the public prosecutor's office explained that the decision isn't simple and involves several legal and investigative factors. They also need to carefully study the official documents from the U.S. trial before making any moves. Even though van der Sloot is already serving a long sentence in Peru, Aruban officials are determined to explore every option to get justice for her and her family. Here's another twist. Peruvian law limits prison sentences to 35 years unless a life sentence is given. This means that van der Sloot is expected to be released from prison in Peru by 2045. However, he was allowed to temporarily leave Peru to face the U.S. charges for extortion and fraud. Under a recent plea agreement, his 20-year U.S. sentence will run at the same time as his sentence in Peru. This means he will probably stay in Peru until his release and won't need to serve extra time in the U.S. What do you think about the justice system's handling of van der Sloot's case? Like, comment, and subscribe for more.